Hello everyone, welcome back to LitBirdie, and in this video today we will discuss Meg-06 Block 8 American Drama. The two most important playwrights in this block are EugeneONeill and Arthur Miller. So playwrights, who are playwrights? Playwrights are those who write dramas, so they are called playwrights in literature. Now in this block we will study The Hairy Ape by O'Neill and Death of a Salesman by Miller. We will also learn important ideas like expressionism. These are some of the terms that are important in American drama. When you study American drama, there are a couple of terms that you should be knowing if you are appearing for IGNOU exam. So these important terms are expressionism, identity, alienation, the American dream, and modern tragedy. So you can be asked to write short notes on these, or there could be a long answer based on these topics as well. So it's good if you remember all these words. At least you should know what these words mean by. So this block is very important from the IGNOU exam point of view. So while watching, try to remember the major themes, characters, symbols, and dramatic technique. First we will study the development of American drama. American drama developed slowly. In the beginning, what happened? American theatre was strongly influenced by European drama, because as we all know that America was a European or British colony. So that's why the American theatre was highly influenced by European drama. Many early plays followed British traditions. So during the 19th century, melodrama and popular entertainment became common. But in the 20th century, American playwrights started creating their own style. Now from here, a new American identity begins to rise in America, and drama began to deal with real American problems. Writers discussed industrialization, capitalism, class conflict, race, family problems, identity, and loneliness in their plays. This was a major change, and American drama moved from simple entertainment towards serious social and psychological drama. So this was quite a drastic change, where American drama was no longer a source of entertainment, but it depicts the reality of American society. It starts depicting the reality of American society. We also see a movement from realism to expressionism and experimental theatre. This change prepared the ground for writers like EugeneONeill and Arthur Miller, the two important playwrights that we are going to study in this block, and their plays which are there in the IGNOU course also. Now modern American theatre. Modern American theatre became more serious in the early 20th century. So before that, what we saw in the previous slide, there was like in 19th century, melodrama and popular entertainment were common things. But what happened during the 20th century, American theatre became more serious. One important group emerged during this time, and this was called the Provincetown Players. This is the group which was founded in 1915 in Provincetown, Massachusetts, and later this group became active in Greenwich Village, New York. So the importance of this group is that the playwrights helped America in this group. It was a group of playwrights, and the playwrights in this group helped American drama move away from simply a commercial entertainment and European imitation toward a more serious, original, experimental American theatre. So during the same time, American identity was also establishing its root in America, and Americans were trying to detach themselves from the influence of British culture and society. Now the playwrights in this group, what what did they do? They encouraged experimental drama. They also helped new playwrights, EugeneONeill. They also helped new playwrights to experiment in their work. EugeneONeill became one of the most important writers connected with this movement or the group. So EugeneONeill was the most important writer of this Provincetown Players group. Other major American dramatists that are there in this group were Tennessee Williams, Arthur Miller, Susan Glaspell, Lorraine Hansberry, and Edward Albee. These writers didn't only tell stories, they examined the society, they examined family, they examined the human mind, and they showed the fears and pressures of modern American life on an individual. This is why American drama became an important form of social criticism. So we all know when playwrights, when they start expressing or when they start showing the realities of the society in their work or in their dramas and plays, the drama becomes the mirror of the society, and it also becomes an important form of social criticism, because whenever there is a weak point in the society, playwrights are going to elaborate and depict it in their dramas. So American drama became a very important form or tool of social criticism. Now we come to EugeneONeill and Expressionism. O'Neill was born in 1888 and he became one of the most important American playwrights, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1936. His plays often explore loneliness, identity, fear, and the search for belonging. One important dramatic technique used by O'Neill is Expressionism. Expressionism is very important, and I would like to tell you a little detail so that you can understand it well. Expressionism does not try to show the outside world exactly as it is. Instead, it shows the character's inner feelings. Reality can look exaggerated or distorted. Okay, but what expressionist writers did, they tried to depict the inner feelings of the character through symbols, through imagery, through stage work or stagecraft. So through all these means they try to depict the inner feelings of the character rather than showing the outside world. So this is called expressionism. Reality can look exaggerated or distorted. So this kind of technique helped the audience experience the character's fear, confusion, and mental struggle. And the Hairy Ape, which the drama which is there in the IGNOU course material also, is a very good example of expressionism. Now the main question of the play, the Hairy Ape, is simple but powerful, and that the question is, where do I belong? The sense of belonging. Everyone should have a sense of belonging, that we belong to this place, this is our town, this is our native place. So we all belong to somewhere, some place. So the main question the Hairy Ape raises is, where do I belong, or where do Yank belong? Yank is the main character in the Hairy Ape. So when we discuss Hairy Ape, you will come to know how this concept establishes there. Now let's discuss the plot summary of the Hairy Ape. Plot summary is nothing but the story of the Hairy Ape in simple form, or the summary of the Hairy Ape. So the main character of this play is Robert Smith, which is also known as Yank, and Yank works as a stoker on a large ocean liner. Stoker are people who feed coal into the ship's furnace, so and make the ship sail through the ocean. And he is physically very strong, and at the beginning he is very proud of himself because he believes he belongs to the world of steel, fire, and machines, because ship are made up of steel and he feeds coal into the machines. So he thinks that he belongs to steel, fire, and machines. He thinks the ship moves because of workers like him. Then there comes one lady whose name is Mildred Douglas, who is the daughter of a rich industrialist. He visits while on the ship, while she was there on the ship, she visits the stokehole, and she sees Yank there. And at that time, Yank was a stoker, so Yank, he was covered in coal and sweat because he was at his work. So when she saw Yank in this condition, in all black and sweaty, she was kind of horrified, and she calls him a filthy beast. This small moment changes Yank completely. Until now, Yang believed that he belonged to the ship, to the steel, to fire, to machine. But after Mildred's reaction, he begins to question himself. He wants to know who he really is. He wants to know where he belongs in the society. This question drives the rest of the play. So the sense of belonging. Now Yank's search for belonging, and now once this Mildred's reaction creates a kind of self-doubt within Yank, and he started thinking where does he belong, and when he didn't get the answer, he went on search for belonging. After Mildred insults him, Yank starts searching for belonging. So what does he do when he began his search for belonging? First of all, he goes to the world of the rich people, where rich people used to live, and that was the place called Fifth Avenue. And there he saw all the wealthy people. But what would they do to him? They simply don't recognize him. They kind of ignored him. So Yank realizes that he does not belong to the people of the rich. So he does not belong to the rich people's world. So he came out of that area. Then he gets involved with the police and goes to the prison. And later what he does, he there in the prison he had a clash with the police, and he had a clash with the police, and that lands him to the prison. Now once he gets out of the prison, he tries to join the industrial workers of the world, which is kind of an association, IWW, and he thinks workers like him will accept him, because there he meet workers like those all workers, he meet workers there, but they kind of the workers also didn't recognize him, and he felt kind of rejected there as well. So finally Yang goes to a zoo, and there he sees a gorilla. He feels that the gorilla is like him, strong and solid and highly built. So he thinks that he's like a gorilla. Now here a kind of alienation develops. That author is trying to tell the people that a kind of a feeling of alienation develops inside Yank, because Yank could not recognize himself with the society. And finally when he goes to a place where he sees animals, he begins to realize that he doesn't belong to the society of people, but he belongs to this place, he belongs to the animals. So kind of alienation, feeling of alienation develops inside of him. Now when he sees a gorilla, he believes he has finally found a creature that understands him, but the gorilla also doesn't recognize him, and he sees him as a human and crushes him. So Yang dies without finding a place where he truly belongs, and this is kind of very tragic play, and it ends on a tragic note. So this is the tragedy of the play, because Yang could not get the sense of belonging, and he ends his life with the search of his identity ends in death. Now this was the plot for Hairy Ape. After that, identity in the Hairy Ape, this modern American plot summary. Yes, now identity in the Hairy Ape. There are questions in IGNOU exam where they will expect you to define. They will expect you to explain the phenomenon of identity in the Hairy Ape, or explain the term identity in the Hairy Ape. So this is kind of important. So the central theme of the Hairy Ape is identity. Yank believes he is a powerful man because he controls the machine. But slowly, we understand that the opposite is true. The industrial system controls him. He is only a small part of a huge machine. He is physically strong and he has physical strength, but he has no social power because he is a stoker. He doesn't have money. He is financially not stable. He has no emotional security, no social security, and he has no clear identity also. So O'Neill uses Yank to show the condition of a modern industrial man, and it's kind of a uh, great criticism of the industrialization that was taking place at that time in America. So a person, what industrial man is? A person who may work hard, a person who may feel strong, but modern society can still make that person feel invisible. So the main conflict is not only Yank versus Mildred, it is really the individual versus industrial civilization. Now we go to symbols in the Hairy Ape. Yes. This is Yank's search of belonging and symbols in the Hairy Ape. Now symbols, the play uses many important symbols. The stokehole looks like an industrial hell where our hero Yank used to work. Workers are surrounded by fire, heat and machines. It shows how workers are treated almost like machines themselves. Steel represents industrial power, and not only industrial power, it also represents imprisonment. Yank thinks steel gives him strength. In reality, steel traps him. Fifth Avenue represents wealth and class division. It shows the world of capitalism. The cage is also important. It represents Yank's physical and psychological imprisonment. Finally, the gorilla represents primitive strength. Yank identifies with it because society has made him feel less human. He feels kind of alien within humans, so he goes to the zoo and identifies himself with the gorilla. So the play's irony is very powerful. Civilization is supposed to make human life better, but for Yank, civilization destroys his human identity. So this is kind of a very huge criticism of the modern day America. So this was all about Hairy Ape. Now if we move to the next slide. Next playwright that we are going to study is Arthur Miller, and the word modern tragedy is associated with Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller was born in 1915 and he became one of the greatest American playwrights of the 20th century. His most famous play is Death of a Salesman, which is there in IGNOU course also. The play was first performed in 1949 on the stage and it won the Pulitzer Prize. The main characters of the play are Willie Loman. The main character is Willie Loman, and there are a couple of secondary characters as well, like Willie's elder brother and Ben, who mainly comes when Willie is thinking about the past, or mainly comes in Willie's memory. So it's not a real character. Then two other secondary characters are Willie's elder and younger son. Now Willie is the main character and he is an aging traveling salesman. He believes very strongly in the American dream. He thinks success depends on being popular, well liked and financially successful. So these three are the key pointers of the American dream. But what happens in reality? Willie's life does not match this dream. This creates his tragedy. Arthur Miller asks an important question: can an ordinary man be a tragic hero? In Shakespeare dramas, we have studied that there was a concept of tragic hero, and in Hamlet, right? And the main cause for Hamlet downfall was his procrastination. So, and which Hamlet finally meets his death and becomes a tragic hero of the English literature, or a tragic hero of Shakespeare. But up until Arthur Miller, a tragic hero only used to be a prince or a person belonging to upper class. But Arthur Miller shows that can an ordinary man can also be a tragic hero. Willie is not a king, he is not a prince, but his emotional struggle is tragic. So, Arthur Miller shows that how can an ordinary man be a tragic hero. Now, what is the plot summary of Death of the Salesman? Let's understand it. Willie Lumen comes home tired after a sales trip. He is growing old, his career is failing, he is no longer earning enough. So, there is a sense of insecurity. Right, he is old, his job is not, he is not performing well at the job, and he has less money. He also worries about his son. His wife Linda loves him deeply. His elder son Biff once had great promise, once was a very bright young man, but now Biff is confused and unsettled. His younger son Happy appears successful on the surface, but Happy is also emotionally empty. Willie keeps remembering the past. He remembers the time when Biff was young and popular. He remembers his brother Ben, who became rich. These memories slowly mix with the present. So they are kind of flashbacks. Present, past, and past and present are mixed together in this play. Willie finds really difficult to accept. He keeps escaping into dreams and memories. Eventually, he believes his life insurance money will help Biff become successful, so Willie kills himself. He dies believing that his death will finally prove his worth, but the ending is deeply sad. His dream remains an illusion only. So, how now we see what tragedy happens. Just because he can claim his son can claim his life insurance policy and get money, uh, Willie kills himself. He commits suicide. That was kind of very tragic. Okay, so now we'll talk about Willie and Biff, these two important characters. The relationship between Willie and Biff is the emotional center of the play. Willie has always believed that Biff will become a great success. He has lots of expectations from his elder son. He dreams of Biff becoming rich and important, but Biff discovers something that changes everything. And actually, Biff finds out that Willie is having an affair in Boston. After this, Biff loses respect for his father. He also loses faith in the values Willie taught him. Years later, Biff realizes that the whole family has lived inside false dreams. Biff wants truth, Willie wants illusion. Biff wants to accept who he really is, Willie wants him to become what society calls successful. This difference creates the central family conflict. Biff moves towards self-knowledge and Willie cannot. So a father-son clashes where Biff is correct, but Willie, since he was highly influenced by the phenomena of an American dream, he thinks that money is everything, which is kind of a wrong notion. Now, Death of a Salesman as a modern tragedy. Sometimes this kind of questions are asked during exams, so prepare them well. Traditionally, tragedies was about kings, princes, and great heroes. What Arthur Miller did, he changed this entire concept of tragic hero. He gives us an ordinary salesman. Willie becomes tragic because he fights desperately for dignity. Willie wants respect, Willie wants recognition, he wants financial stability and success, he wants his sons to admire him, he wants his sons to be successful as well. But his idea of success is deeply flawed. His tragedy comes from the distance between his dream and his reality. This is what makes the play a modern tragedy. The tragedy is not caused by fate alone. It is caused by social pressure, false values and self-deception. And Willie becomes the victim of both society and his own beliefs. Because according to Willie, the person who is successful is well known, famous, rich, and he must be having a lot of money, he must be living in a good house, he must be having a big car. So according to Willie, all these materialistic wealth makes a person successful, and that was the false concept he was living into, and that became the major cause of his illusion with the reality, and this illusion was later became the cause of his death. Now, what is the concept of American dream? This is a very important term, and even these days, today, now also, there are so many people who are fantasized or fascinated with this concept of American dream. So, American dreamism is one of the most important themes in the play. Willie believes that anyone can become successful if they are attractive, popular, and well liked. He does not understand the importance of developing some skills, having discipline in life, and becoming self aware. He teaches the same idea to his sons. This damages the family. The play questions a society where human values are measured through money and status. Biff finally understands that he does not want Willie's version of success. He wants a simpler and more honest life. So Miller does not completely reject ambition. He criticizes a false American dream. A dream becomes dangerous when people believe money decides their wealth. So, money is important, but money is not everything, and we can earn money by developing a skill, by having a passion, right? By learning a new skill, by having discipline in life, by becoming self-aware. So that was what Arthur Miller tries to tell to his audience. Now the structure of Death of the Salesman, again very important topic, kind of a very peculiar and artistic structure. The story does not move in a straight line. The present and the past are constantly mixed. Willie often moves from reality into memory. Sometimes he enters fantasy as well. Sometimes he experiences hallucinations. So why does Miller use this structure? According to IGNOU course material, Miller wants us to experience Willie's mind. Now here comes the term of expressionism. Willie is emotionally unstable. His past is always present for him. He cannot separate memory from reality. So the structure of the play reflects his psychological condition. This is why the play is both realistic as well as expressionistic. Realistic in terms of when it's showing the reality of the society, and expressionistic it is showing the inner feeling of the character by experimenting with the stage craft, or by experimenting with the structure of the story. Now, how memory, time, and stagecraft, these three things are used in this is the craft and technique that Arthur Miller uses in the play. Miller uses many dramatic techniques. Flashbacks are very important. They show us Willie's earlier life. They also explain why Biff lost faith in him. Memory scenes help us understand the family's emotional history. The character of Ben is also important. Ben represents adventure, wealth, and the success Willie wishes he had achieved. Ben in Death of a Salesman is Willie Lumen's older brother, but he is not a fully realistic present time character. He mainly appears in Willie's memories and imagination. Ben left home when he was young, went in search of his father, and became rich after going to Africa. For Willie, Ben represents success, adventure, wealth, and the life he wishes he had lived. Willie admires him because Ben seems to prove that a man can become rich through boldness and risk taking. That is why Ben keeps appearing when Willie is confused or desperate. He becomes almost like a voice inside Willie's mind. A key line associated with Ben is, "When I walked into the jungle, I was 17. When I walked out, I was 21. And by God, I was rich." So, if you remember this quote, and if you write this quote while answering the question, you will get good marks. So, for the exam, you can remember Ben is equal to Willie's ideal of success plus fantasy plus the dangerous American dream. So, this is what Ben as a symbol represents. He also becomes important near the end of the play because Willie imagines Ben while thinking about suicide and the insurance money. Music also plays an important role. The flute music connects Willie with his father and with an older, simpler America. The stage design is also unusual. Wall can appear transparent. Past and present can exist together on stage. This helps the audience enter Willie's mind. Then again, the phenomena of expressionism. The term expressionism is clear here. In this play, structure is not separate from meaning. Structure itself tells us about Willie's breakdown. Now, what are the symbols that are used in Death of the Salesman? The central theme is the theme of American Dream. Then we talk about technique, how the music plays an important role, how the Arthur Miller experimented with the stage setup, and now we talk about the symbols in the Death of the Salesman. The play contains many important symbols. There are seeds. Seeds represent growth. So Willie wants to grow something because he feels his own life has produced nothing. Stockings reminded him of his affair. They symbolize guilt. Diamonds represent material success, and they are connected with Ben because Ben went to Africa. The flute represents Willie's father and a lost natural America. Cards represent movement and success, but they also become connected with danger and death. The house is another major symbol. Once it represented achievement, now tall buildings surround it. This shows how modern city life has trapped Willie. He kind of feels imprisoned within his own house. Nature and the city constantly oppose each other. Nature suggests freedom, while the city suggests pressure and confinement. So this was all about Death of a Salesman. Now we'll study the comparison between these two playwrights, O'Neill and Miller. In the Hairy Ape, O'Neill wrote Hairy Ape and Miller wrote Death of a Salesman. So in the Hairy Ape, the protagonist or the hero of the play, Yank, searches for belonging. He was in search of belonging, while in Death of a Salesman, the tragic hero Willie searches for success and dignity. Yank is an industrial worker. Willie is a salesman. Yanks feel rejected by class society. Willie feels destroyed by economic expectations. O'Neill uses expressionism strongly. Miller combines realism with expressionistic techniques. Yet both playwrights ask a similar question. What happens when society decides a person's value? Yank wants to know, where do I belong? Willie wants to know, what makes me worth something? Both men fail to find a satisfying answer. That is why both plays are powerful critiques of modern America. So this was all about blockade. Now moving on to the exam revisions, 5 areas to master. First, know the development of American drama. First, you should, if you want to study this block thoroughly, you should understand the development of modern America. The 19th century, the melodrama, then the modern drama. You should also study the techniques that playwrights used, the techniques like the realism and the expressionism. These terms you should know. And so you should know the development of American drama. Second, you prepare the Hairy Ape around identity, alienation and expressionism. Third, you prepare Death of a Salesman as a modern tragedy. Fourth, understand the structure of the Death of the Salesman. Then memory, flashback, stage design, symbolism, all are very important and they all come under the structure of the play. Fifth, you prepare a comparison between O'Neill and Miller. So this all is important from exam point of view. Now when you are answering a question, suppose a long form question which is 20 marks question, you begin with the context, like you begin with the playwright's bio and what achievements he had. Then you can give a short plot summary and explain your main argument, give an example from the play, discuss the dramatic technique, and then add critical analysis. What do you think? What is your analysis of the play? And then finish the answer with a clear conclusion. If you remember one thing from this block, remember this. Yank asks, where do I belong? He was in search of belonging. And Willie was the victim of American dream, or he was always asking himself, what makes me valuable? So both these questions explain the crisis of modern American society. So this completes the lecture, and I hope it will help you. And if this lecture helps you and this video helps you, you like the video and share it with other IGNOU students, and subscribe to LitBirdie for more exam ready literature videos. And we'll meet you in the next block 9, which is Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. Thank you.